Hey, Mark, what's up, bro?
What's up, dude?
Hey, man, what you got going on?
Just hanging out.
Awesome. All right, so check this out. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to swing by, I'm going to pick you up, and we're going to go play some baseball. You down with that?
Baseball? Man, I haven't thrown a ball in forever.
I know you're a soccer player, but just humor me today, and let's go play some baseball.
All right, man, come pick me up.
All right, cool. I'll be over in 10. Later.
I wouldn't say we made it, but we made it through. We didn't make it up, we just made a way. We gon' take it up, we won't fade away. I got too many dreams, gotta stay awake. Ask me if I changed, yo, it's night and day. I told the backstabbers, put the knife away. I'm trying to get my family to a nicer place.
How the heck did you get out here, first of all? And second of all, you know, it's kind of bush league to play catch in front of the dugout unless you're in the big leagues.
But I mean, I know somebody who knows somebody, Coach.
Coming in to save the day, the one, the only, Colin Roberson.
All right, what's up, big dog?
What's going on, man?
Not much.
Doing all right?
Yeah, man. So, first of all, thanks for getting us out here and saving us from Coach Francis over there. I think he was gonna go in on us there.
Yeah, he's a little aggressive at times. He's a little one, but he's fiery.
He's got that. Well, I won't say little man syndrome.
No, he's not. He's a big man in a little man's body, and he is every bit the pistol. That's for sure.
How's my hair look? Is it good?
Fantastic.
All right, sweet. So yeah, man. So, 2005. Well, first of all, let's back up some. I was inside, high on the inside. That's the ball.
It's your plate. Your plate.
You got to protect the plate, Colin. I don't know if you know that or not. So you played here, Virginia Wesleyan.
Yep.
What was your starting position?
I was drafted as a right fielder, center fielder, but on this field I have played every position except for the tools of ignorance that you're holding on to right now.
So you didn't have the balls to play catcher?
Yeah, basically. I didn't have the balls, nor did I want to lose my balls when I was catching, basically. No, I came in as a first baseman, third baseman, played short, second, pitched my sophomore year, the entire year, thanks to Coach Francis.
Yeah.
And that actually kind of got me on the map from a standpoint of being a hard thrower.
Yeah.
And people started to take notice what I was doing at that point.
Okay.
The rest was history from there.
What was your what's your favorite position, I guess, to play?
I actually like center the best because you supersede everybody as far as priority goes.
Yeah.
You can kind of call anybody off and everybody off. So that was kind of my deal right there.
Coming in hot.
Ball.
Ball, you could have crushed that one. I mean, I would have crushed it, but that's neither here nor there. So center field was your favorite position. So you played, where'd you play high school at?
I went to First Colonial High School.
First Colonial.
So I played for Norby Wilson at FC, was there from 98 to 2001, and came here 2001, was drafted in 05.
Okay, and you played travel travel ball or Little League?
I was a driller when I was a kid. So I played for the Tidewater Drillers since I was 10, 11, and then basically when you get into high school ball, travel ball then is way different than what it is now.
Yeah.
So it was just a different animal, but high school was huge, was everything. And it still should be everything now, but.
Take me to draft day.
Draft day, 05, June 6th. Honestly, I didn't think I was gonna get drafted because I was coming out of a small school.
Yeah.
So pretty much, most of the time you hear, good pitch.
Ooh, that was inside. That's a strike.
That was my pitch right there. That was happy zone right there. But no, I didn't think I was really going to get drafted. I thought I was going to have to be one of those guys out of a small school that was going to be free agent sign, was going to have to go to some tryouts. So I was actually driving with my girlfriend at the time to the beach and got a call from our catcher, who was Mike Supa at the time, and he was like, dude, you just got drafted. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I didn't. Like, I know what round it is. Because I thought if I did get drafted, it'd be like the last pick of like the whole thing. So either way.
You got drafted, 21st round?
21st round. It was 663rd overall out of like 1,500 kids. So every year, they get drafted to the Marlins as an outfielder. And pretty much that was the journey. That year, it was myself, Ryan Zimmerman, Justin Upton, Chris Rawl. There was a number of guys from this area that got drafted that year.
And you're buddies with most of those guys.
Yeah, we all grew up playing together. The Zim and Mark Reynolds, Dave Wright, the Upton brothers. We all were this cohort group that had some really great coaching and really great kids that were you know, helped bring us all along, and we all kind of pushed each other as we went through. And then it was pretty cool when we all got, you know, into professional baseball together. You know, we worked out in the off seasons, we cheered each other on, we rooted for each other. It was really cool. So definitely a cool dynamic.
All right, so I think the big question that everybody wants to know is how much did you get paid when you got drafted? Steve, right? Get out of here. Yes, that's 2 on him.
So I was a very, so basically I was a senior draft. So there's no real leverage for you to say, hey, I'm going to hold out and go back to college.
Right.
So that being said, they pretty much went, hey, here's $1,000 in a plane ticket. So what are you going to say? No, that you're going to go, not going to go play professionally. So of course I jumped all over it, signed my contract, and headed down to Jupiter, Florida, and was pretty much cast into a room with a bunch of other degenerates like me that were, you know, whether they were a first rounder that got 1.5 million or, you know, a late rounder like me that got $1,000 in a plane ticket. We were all in it together at that point.
Nice.
So that was, you know, if you're a high school guy or you're a big college guy that has a junior year to go into, or a senior year following, a lot of times they'll give you a much bigger payday. But I was not that guy because I was a late bloomer. So
You got this swing, right? Let's prove something here.
All right.
Let's prove something here, batter. All right, so we're back. Drafted in 2005, Marlins. Living with a bunch of dudes. So what's it like? Like you get drafted, you're excited. Now the grind starts, right? Like what's the daily hustle grind like?
Probably the biggest difference from like college to pro ball was that you're playing literally every day.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I had a bad game, you know, here, you know, I might have a couple days, or if I had a bad weekend, you have a couple days off, you can kind of regroup, get your mind right. Because baseball is so mental as it is.
Right.
You know, the minute you're going to the field the next day and you're like, shit, I just struck out 3 times yesterday, like, don't think about striking out. What are you immediately doing that day? You're like, oh, don't strike out.
Yeah.
So the mental piece was much different when you're grinding out every single day. You know, and the competition level is obviously different.
Right.
You know, everybody's
It's faster.
up, it's faster, it's bigger, it's stronger.
Well, so that's what I was kind of, you know, talking to Mark about. You know, when you get to the professional level, like when you play high school, you're the guy, right? When you play college, you're the guy.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to the pros, you know, everybody's the guy.
Everybody was a guy.
Yeah, I mean, so you're trying to stand out. You're trying to be, I guess, uncommon against uncommon men, I guess, so to speak, or?
No, I mean, you're right, but at the same time, like having an understanding that everybody is really, really, really good.
Yeah.
So you go into that knowing that that's going to be kind of what you're up against, but I would see guys, and I mean, you could even put me in that category, the guys that had all the physical tools to play at the big leagues, but it was really who could separate it here.
Yeah.
You know, there's probably a ton of stories of guys out there that had all the physical abilities in the world, but couldn't put it together mentally.
Right.
And that's really what separates guys. You had guys that were not as athletically, you know, gifted or talented as ball players, but they made it to the big leagues because they could sift through the mental.
Yeah, and that's another thing I was talking to Mark about. I was like, I don't know how I feel about doing an interview with a dude that's clearly taller and better looking than I am. So,
well,
congratulations, you're the first. Well, I mean, Mark's a pretty good-looking dude too. So.
Got to break the mold somewhere, I guess.
Yeah. So, speaking of size, what, you're 6'5". Right now, you're what?
I'm about 225 now.
225. Okay.
So
when you were drafted, how tall were you? 6'5",
when I got drafted out of here, I was about 6'5", about 195, and just uber wiry.
So did they try to put when you went in? They try to put a bunch of weight on you, or?
Yeah. So I mean, that was kind of the interesting part. When I was drafted in 2005, that was the first year that they implemented all the drug testing.
Yeah.
So you know, PEDs and all that sort of stuff was prevalent. You know, and you had kind of the tail end of that. We actually had a guy that was drafted with me that didn't play the senior year because he popped positive in college and then ended up getting drafted anyway. So it was kind of like, well, wow, all right. But, you know, it was get bigger, faster, stronger. So when I came home for my first full season, you know, I said, okay, how do I do that without, you know, jabbing a needle in my ass pretty much, yeah. Or cheating. But basically, I got with a nutritionist and I got with my trainer, Chris Ullum, who I still work with to this day. And, you know, he said, all right, we're going to formulate a plan. I was taking in about 6,000 calories a day and just lifting my face off. And I put on about 25 pounds of muscle after my first full season. So I went from like 6'5", 195 to about 220.
Nice.
So and I would play between like 220 and 225. and then by the end of the season you lose so much throughout. You know, you're about like 210, 215. Oh yeah, just the grind of the season.
You can.
Yep.
So tell me about the. Come on, man. Being a professional baseball player, good-looking dude. Tell me about the parties. Tell me, like, that's what everybody wants to know about.
I mean, it could be fishing with dynamite depending on where you go, what city you're in. You know, if you're, hey, you know, it's funny though, because guys didn't really want to kind of lead that on because you'd get worn out by your teammates. Like, really, dude, you let in that you're a professional ball player?
You're that guy?
You're that guy?
Don't be that guy.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you'd be like, oh, I was in the Peace Corps, I'm in construction, just to try and finagle it.
The Peace Corps, that was your
That
go-to?
was my go-to.
Is that how you got your, is that how you picked up your wife? Or
No.
She wanted to
Julia, I met Julia when I was actually substitute teaching in the off seasons.
Nice.
So I was in there, and Mark Reynolds and myself were doing substitute teaching for a time for Norby Wilson, who was our high school coach, and ended up going into an elementary school and meeting her, and rest is history from there.
She wasn't a student, right?
No, God, definitely not.
Little joke.
Elementary school, calm down. No, but yeah, I mean, that was just kind of, you know, off-season hustle. Most ball players had an off-season hustle.
Yeah.
But, you know, the in season, it was, you know, you're in spring training sites, and we were in West Palm Beach, Jupiter. Pretty target-rich environment. Yeah. You know, plenty of fun down there to be had. And I mean, it was like, really, dude, you let in with that out of the gate? Come on, man. They all know you're a ball player. You don't need to bring it up half the time.
Everybody here is a ball player.
Yeah.
What was your favorite city to play in?
Man. Well, put it this way, in the minor leagues, you don't really get a ton of pristine, nice spots. A lot of the places you play are kind of a little dicey. Right. So, I mean, West Palm was always great. Like, Jupiter was fantastic. That's where our spring training site was for the Marlins. But again, me playing all over the place. Played some pretty cool places, you know, Canada and Midwest. You know, I played a lot of time up in Northeast, so it's kind of hard not to have fun when you're with all your teammates and running around.
So, did you ever get the call up?
No. So I did everything I could to get to the big leagues, and pretty much just came short of my goal. Yeah. You know, that's, I think when you look at the big picture of, you know, what you did to kind of prepare yourself going into it, you know, baseball's a failure sport. Yeah. So it's super hard. Anybody that's been through the ranks of the minor leagues knows how competitive it is, what it takes to kind of get there. And I mean, a lot of it's luck, staying injury free. You know, you're constantly under a microscope. The guys that are ahead of you, the guys that are behind you, it's just a different world. And I mean, that's where you talk.
Do you think a lot to do with it has to do with the program you're with too? So like I'm not a huge baseball fan. I love baseball, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't know it like I know football.
Right.
And I've always said that I feel like a lot of players, when they get drafted, they get a disadvantage because of the scheme or the program they're drafted to
100%.
doesn't fit them.
100%.
That portrays to baseball too?
It does. So, and it plays into the business side of it too. So let's, again, senior sign $1,000, and let's say you're a guy that got, you know, $500K out of a bigger school. Yeah. It's a business. So I had a real conversation with one of the high ups in the team and organization and said, hey, look, you know, what do you think? And they're like, look, you're a 5-tool player. You deserve 500 at-bats a year, but I don't have it to give to you because I gave you $1,000 in a plane ticket, where these other 3 outfielders, 1.5, 500K, traded for a big leaguer. Like, those guys,
they're investments.
They're investments. Yeah. And that's the way that you look at it. And that was a really hard thing to swallow for a young kid that was ambitious enough and knew that I could hang. Like, I'm better than them.
Like, you
just got to give me the opportunity.
That I need to do.
And it's crazy because the competition piece. Like, that's the one thing I found about myself. I was not a great baseball player if I didn't play consistently, meaning I didn't get 4 or 5 days a week to play. When you get in there and you haven't played in 7 days or 5 days, it's like, hey, here's 95 coming at you. Good luck.
Right.
So it wears on guys, and that's where that mental side comes in, to be able to jump in and not try and. I was always guilty of trying to get in there and hit a 6-run home run to say, hey, look, I did this today, I should play tomorrow. And sometimes that was there, but other times it was like, hey, they gave money to that guy. He's going to play no matter what you do, and that was hard to swallow.
Looking back on it, would you have done anything different?
I don't think I would have done anything different. I mean, I think in the grand scheme of things, you know, you can put everything into it. I know I sure as hell did. Yeah. I mean, I've spent countless hours on this field at First Colonial, like just honing my craft and doing everything I could. And, you know, It was tough, and I mean, it was a hard pill to swallow when it came down to it, because I made a deal with myself at 26 that I wasn't going to be 30 and be in the minor leagues.
Right.
That was my deal, because I saw guys that were 35, 36, and not a knock on them by any means. They're great guys. A lot of them had time in the big leagues, so they could sit back on their money, where it's like, hey man, you're dragging 2 kids across the country, you know, displacing them from schools. I mean, it was hard to watch sometimes, but they loved it.
Yeah.
And I get that. I mean, I still love the game, but at the same time, it's like, you just had to kind of put a spot where you
mental clock of, hey, it's time to pull
it's time to move on.
else.
Yeah, and it's frustrating too when you work as hard as you can, and it's like, man, it's just not working out. You know, I had a coach tell me, a guy named Reed Cornelius, who was a big league bullpen coach for the Marlins for a number of years, and he said, look, he goes, we had a guy get released who was a great player, like put up numbers, but just wasn't a guy, but he produced. And he got cut from spring training, and it was like, dude, this guy hit 320 last year. I hit like 240. Like, damn, I'm next. You know, like,
Right.
How did that guy get released and I didn't? But that's just kind of the nature of the beast, where it was like, you have to find out how to, you have a window. So when your window's open when you get drafted, as it starts to get older, it starts to close on you. This guy said, your job is to find a way to find a team that meets your needs and you meet their needs before your window is closed.
Right.
And that made perfect sense to me, because you're ultimately auditioning for all 30 teams, not just the team that you were with
But
currently.
that's also, I mean, that's hard too, man, because you have the pros, like you have the majors, and then you have the minors, and you have the AAA. It's a saturated game.
Absolutely.
So, not that being called up to pro in any other sport's not hard, because it is, but you're also, you
Yeah.
got to go through the chop chain, man, and there's so many good players out there that,
You're looking at a big league club that carries 25, AAA club, AA club, high A, low A, rookie ball. I mean, there's multiple levels. Each team's got 25 guys on it. So
Yeah.
you're looking at that. Now there's 29 other teams out there that have the same thing going on, and everybody's competing for 750 spots in the big leagues to be the cream of the crop. And it's really, really difficult. They literally, the day one of draft, when we went in for our first initiation meeting,
Yeah.
they put a freaking triangle on the whiteboard. Here's all the kids that play in Little League baseball across the country. Here's everybody that plays high school. Here's everybody that plays college. Everybody that plays professional
You got,
baseball.
like, the top
I
1%.
mean, like less than 1%. They said, this is what you're up against, guys.
yeah.
Welcome. I'm like, all right, let's get to it.
So, having said that, hopefully some young kid or college athlete watches this. That would be cool. What would you tell the next Colin Roberson that's wanting to go pro and just either doesn't have it or doesn't know if they really want it?
Well, I think you know if you want it. I mean, if you're intrinsically motivated enough to go get something in life, you're going to work your ass off to go do it.
Yeah.
If you fall in love with something, I mean, look, once this is in your blood, it's hard to get out. And the grind, and I enjoyed the work aspect. Like, I really enjoyed coming to the field and being like, hey, we're going to get after today, we're going to get better. The kids that do that and have that mentality are going to have a better shot to take them into the further they go in baseball. And then it's also going to carry over, which I think is the most important thing, into what they're going to do next in life. Because ultimately this
goes away
ends at some point.
Yeah.
This goes away at some point. And I remember my father told me that a long time ago. He goes, son, this is going to last a hell of a lot longer than this will.
Right.
So you better be prepared to have next step on what you're going to do.
Yeah,
So
I
that
always
always
say that too, man.
resonated to me.
I think anything in life, you have to become addicted to the process.
Yep.
Like, the end goal is great.
Yep.
But it's where you make or break yourself is the process.
Right. And I mean, I look at the goals that I set for myself, like coming out of high school and even the early part of my college career, I didn't think I was technically going to get to play 9 years professionally.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was really in the cards, but as I developed, as I grew and matured and put in the time, it was like, hey, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I can compete with anybody. And that's where, for me, even though I came up short of my goal, I had, I can talk to Reynolds or Zimmerman or any of these guys that played with me and trained with me. They're like, hey man, like, the tools were there.
Yeah.
Just, for whatever reason, couldn't put it together as a whole. And that's something I got to deal with, which is cool, because really and truthfully, it prepares you to deal with other failures that you're going to come down the road as life comes at you. And that's the beauty of baseball and the beauty of athletics in general. You learn how to handle what comes down the pipe to you. And again, I'm biased towards baseball because it's such a failure sport.
Yeah.
But I think it helps mold you and shape you. And I mean, the coaches and all the people that we've had. I mean, Franny was a fantastic coach, but I had some hard-nosed, in-your-face, I will light you up coaches that held you accountable, and it was like, okay, you know, so I still, you know, it was crazy the time dealing with it, but at the same time, you look back in retrospect and you're like, they made a man out of you, and that's what you hope other coaches, and you would help to tell the next kid down the road, hey man, you know, cowboy up, let's get after it.
But you know, baseball was your passion, but I think knowing you as a man, I think you're successful. You're married, you got 2 kids, one on the way.
One on the way.
And you're kicking ass in your own field, and I think that has a lot to show for who you are as a person. You didn't let it beat you, you know what I'm saying? And you came back and you found your own right. And that's really what this show's about.
Yeah.
Man.
And you know what's crazy too, like just to piggyback off of that, like I know a lot of guys that come out of whether it be college or professional athletics, and I mean even military guys. I mean there's that transitional period where you really don't know what the hell the next step is going to be.
It's the identity crisis.
It's totally the identity crisis. I've done this since I was 6 years old. Yeah. I mean I've got friends of mine that like you got to kind of help pull them out of a dark place, because it's like, hey guys, you know, life's going to move past this. If you stay in the game somehow, some way, good on you. But understanding that, hey, look, maybe your next time at this is going to be when your kids are playing the game,
or when you coach, or whatever.
Yeah. So it's all part of the journey, and that's the cool part about it.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming out.
Absolutely, enjoyed it.
Thanks for letting us get on the field.
Yeah, man.
I'll give you some pointers in just a minute. You know, that swing you had was a little, but
got under it a little bit.
Yeah.
Pitcher kind of threw a little cutter, getting on my hands a little bit.
We'll work on it. But no, man, I appreciate it.
Absolutely, enjoyed it anytime. Always
guys,
love talking baseball.
Like and subscribe. Colin Roberson, great guy. Caliber Home Loans. I wasn't gonna plug that, but I will. There
We
you go.
didn't make it up, we just made a way. We gon' take it up, we won't fade away.
know,
I got you.
I'm kind of motivated now after talking to Colin. I definitely think I can go yard in this piece. What is this, about 150, 200 yards?
We didn't make it up, we just made a way. We gon' take it up, we won't fade away.
We'll crack the swing.
I got too many dreams, gotta stay away.
Yep, that's out of here.
Change, yo, it's night and day. I told the backstabbers, put the knife away. I'm trying to get my family to a nicer place. Room for everybody, but no room for hate.